Don Global presents
the DG Recruit podcast on everything headhunting and recruitment. Achieve the life and career you envision. What's up, game changers? It's your host, Don, founder of Don Global, the headhunting and career coaching company helping you achieve the life and career you envision.
In today's DG Recruit podcast, we'll talk about what every junior recruiter needs to hear. Now, whether you're 1 month or 1 year in the biz, pretty much what I mean by a junior recruiter, I mean by somebody who is not performing at the global popular level. Because that, in my eyes, that still means you're junior. As in, you don't know what to do to get to the top line sales. So this could, again, mean someone who's been in the business for a bit. But most of you tuning in, you're probably just starting out in this business. And I honest to God, I think that if every single recruiter, obviously this is all agency recruiting stuff, if every single agency recruiter heard today's podcast, they would either make it or they quit, because this is the reality of the situation. And I'm not going to mince words here. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with a candidate who's junior in their career, and they're struggling. And this is what I have to say to people in that situation. So let's get into it. The first point I want to say to every single junior recruiter, they need to hear this, is that recruiting is a privilege. What do I mean by that? Recruitment as a career, as agency recruiters, it is a privileged job. Now, you might not think that because you're like, well, my base salary is like $40,000. I'm living on cereal. That still means you're privileged. How do I know this? Because when I started out as $35K base, I thought to myself, wow, this must be like the most poverty-stricken job in the world. And so I Googled, literally, poverty level housing. How much can I live in the projects for? And when you look at the median data from the U.S. Census, you will realize that the majority of Americans are actually much less privileged than we are. We, with our 35K, that doesn't even exist anymore, 40K, 45K, 50K, 55K, 60K basis. All right? Some people are on a 60K base and they say it's a struggle. I have absolutely zero sympathy for that. Because when you're trying to make it, when you're trying to get rich, you gotta starve before you feast. And this is one of my quotes that I created. You got to starve before you feast. And what that means is that you got to go through some tough times before you can really just bust out as a millionaire. Because it takes time. It takes time to build up. It takes patience. It takes diligence. You need to have discipline, right? So recruiting is a privilege because it gives you a chance to work on that discipline. And actually, it creates some really good financial habits if you do it right, because you got to starve before you feast, right? Even if you own your own recruiting firm, you got to starve for a very long time before you start to feast, because it takes time to build a market. It takes time to build your business. And it's a privilege because we're already starting off at a high base. You may not know this. Let me explain. So real estate sales, do you know what base salary they get? They get zero, and they have to pay for their own licensure, and they have to pay for their own realtor fees. They have to pay for their own training courses. There is not a trainer that comes in and teaches you how to sell. You have to pay, at least I did. I had to pay Brian Buffini course, $500 out of my own pocket, and I had to go travel to the office to learn how to sell houses. And I had to make time, and I had to do that for myself. I did not get a base salary. Now think about financial wealth sales. Do you know how much those people get paid? They get paid $20,000 their first year, maybe a little bit more. They get paid really chump change to sell financial products, and their commission rate is not even half as good as ours. Same goes for real estate sales, by the way. So for people who don't understand how unique of a sales career recruiting is, they have not been around the block. They have not seen it. They have not seen what it's like to live in the populace. They have coming from, most middle class and, upper class kids. They're coming from silver spoon in their mouth. They don't understand recruiting is a privilege. You never had to clean toilets like potentially people like I had to do. You didn't have to pick up dead rats from houses that you were cleaning out. You did not have to work those manual labor jobs. So you walk into the white collar world expecting $80,000 bases. That's not true. That's not the case. If you want to make money with recruiting as the vehicle, it is an incredible financial wealth building opportunity because the commissions are insane. We're talking 30, 50, 40, 60K per deal. And of that, you get at least 4K on the low end, maybe 15, 20K on the high end, depending on where you work. It's a privilege. It truly is a privilege of a role. That being said, number 2, recruiting is a serious business. Now, a lot of people, because they don't even understand what an amazing opportunity recruiting is in light of things, they don't understand that it's also a business and it's quite a serious one. They think that it's just experimental, and that's not true. It's not an experience that you can just experiment with. It's a serious business. If you want this to work, you have to bust your butt. You have to seriously commit yourself to it. And if you don't, you can expect that it will fail because you are making it fail, right? You are not treating it like a serious business. You're treating it like a pastime. And I know recruiters who have this mentality. It's a pastime. They don't immerse themselves in sales books. They don't do anything on the weekends other than go and drink and do bar crawls with their friends. They don't treat this like a serious business. How do I know this? I worked at a recruiting agency and I saw what my colleagues, how they lived. They did not work weekends. They had a Chanel watch on their wrist. They had a Cartier bracelet on their wrist. So they are not busting their butt. They're not treating it like a serious business. They're treating it like a job. And they failed. Over time, they have all exited the industry. None of them seem to make any serious wealth off of it. And no surprise, they did not treat it with a serious mentality. They treated it like a fun game that, whatever, who cares? The stakes are low, whatevs. When you treat recruiting like that, you are not going to make the $200,000. That is the benchmark of why we're in this business. If you're not making over $200,000 by at least year 3, you are not doing it right. You are at the wrong shop, or you're simply not cut out for it, because recruiting is a serious business, and that is the golden standard. In today's dollars and cents, based on how much percentage we're charging off of these salaries and how good the economy is, you should 100% be expecting $200,000 by year 3. And if you're not at that level, you are not doing it right. And again, it's because you're not treating it with this seriousness it deserves. Now, all of you tuning in, you're not going to make this mistake, because you're either going to exit after you hear the whole podcast, or you're going to absolutely thrive, because you're going to take what I said to heart and you're going to use it, and you're going to make it become your pathway, what we call the first bucket of gold to money, to wealth, because that's what it is. It's a serious business and pathway to creating independent wealth. Number 3, you cannot expect your boss, your trainers to teach you how to recruit and how to sell. The reason is because recruiting is subjective. It's completely down to how you yourself personally behave, speak, engage with, and impact your pool of candidates, your pool of clients, your market, right? This is extremely subjective. So what worked for me may work for you, but you have to make it your own. So you have to figure it out on your own. A lot of recruiters are like, but just show me the money. Just get me there. Just get me in there. I just want to find these candidates. Why is it so hard? Why can't I just get into that? And I tell them, look, it isn't that simple. Because if it is, all of us would have this magical roadmap. And this magical roadmap would lead us to the gold. And it's not easy. Because if it was, our gold would be bronze. It would not be very lucrative if the business was so simple that you could just, oh, here you go. Here's a roadmap. Bam. There you are. 200,000 in your pocket. It is not easy at all. You have to figure it out on your own. My boss gave me training. My trainers gave me training. But I had to figure out, how do I then take their theory into my practice? How do I then take what they said and bring it up to that next level? Because I do not want to just do what they're teaching me because it's basic. I want to take it to that next level. How do I make it to conform to my standards and come up to that next level? Because they're going to tell you, hey, tell your candidates this. And I'll try it and I'll say it's all right. It's okay. I don't think it's the best. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say this. And that's even better. And that's what we call standing on shoulders of giants. You do not need to reinvent the wheel, but you absolutely have to hear what they have to say and make it better, because you cannot survive if you just do it just like they said. That's the first step, right? You got to at least do what they said, but you got to take it up to that next level. Figure it out on your own. And a lot of people are saying, but I'm doing what they said and I'm trying what they said. Well, try harder, do better, try more, and use different verbiage, right? Because again, you can't rely on your trainers. First of all, trainers, they're not even professional headhunters. They're trainers. They train on it. A lot of them aren't even practicing anymore and haven't been practicing for a very long time. And if they were practicing, they weren't very good, because if they were, they'd be running their own business or they'd be global top billers. They wouldn't be doing the chump change job that is training. So again, you got to do it yourself. No one is going to teach you, hey, here's how you're going to make millions of dollars. You have to figure it out on your own, because there's concept, there's theory, and there's practice, and there's execution. And between the two of those, there's a giant chasm. There's a humongous valley. And in that valley is failure. Right? So until you build your own bridge and cross it, just like Indiana Jones did when he walked on that invisible bridge, that's what recruiting looks like to me. He had to walk through that invisible bridge to get to the other side, to get the goblet or whatever, the chalice. I forget what the formal term is, right? For you to get that gold, you've got to build your own invisible bridge through the chasm underneath. There is dead bodies everywhere, failure everywhere. You have to build your own. You have to build your own methodology, your own framework of how you're going to impact your candidates and clients, because no one is going to teach you how to do that. They don't even really care about their own job. If you rely on somebody else, they'll never take you to the promised land. You have to take yourself to the golden chalice, right? So you have to figure it out on your own. So examples of this would be things like, my trainer would tell me, oh, here, have a minute rocket pitch ready. So when you pick up the phone, you tell your client, hello, I'm Joe Schmo, calling from Joe Schmo Agency. Hi, I want to tell you about what I do for a living. I recruit for X, Y, and Z. In fact, this is hilarious. I heard another podcast. This guy runs a recruitment podcast, and there's a lot of guys that run recruitment podcasts. And I heard him do a training on what to tell clients and candidates. And his advice was, the magic words are, how are you? I was like, what kind of bullshittery is this? Right? It's like, hi, tell them this and that. Well, you know what? In the real world, none of that shit works. None of that shit works. None of the shit that your trainers and your boss and other people tell you works, it don't work. You got to freaking figure out the voice of what works for you, because what works for them ain't gonna work for you. You got to figure it out. Right? So my trainer would say, tell the candidate, hello, I'm calling from Joe Schmo Agency. We do regulatory writing, recruiting, blobbity, 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 blobbity. Your candidate, your client will drop the phone before you even finish even a minute of that spiel, even a fragment of that spiel. You will be hung up upon. It don't work. What works is, hey, I saw your profile. You got a really kick-ass background. I love what you're doing in the XYZ space. I'm the top headhunter for this space. I need to talk to you. I need to know people like you. You are my bread and butter. Insert joke here. Ha ha ha. Let's go. Let's have that conversation. What? That's what works. That kind of authoritarian conversation, that leader, that power, that drive, that voice, that's what works for me, at least. You got to figure out what works for you. Right? Because none of what they say works. And I just can't stress this enough. There is nobody that has a playbook that's like, boom, do this, it works, and here's your $200,000. It's not what it works. You got to put in the effort to figure it out all on your own. I'm sorry, there is no shortcut, because learning, it takes time. learning and making mistakes and having word bombs and saying the wrong things and using the things, oh, that works. Oh, that works. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes your personal experience. Nobody can jump into your body and all of a sudden do it. Just like piano, right? Like if you don't practice the piano, you're not going to show up to the recital with a beautifully played out piano song. It's just nobody can jump into your body and get you playing at that level. You have to sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours of your time to get good at that talent. It is just extremely bespoke, extremely subjective. Nobody can do it for you. You got to do it. You got to figure it out on your own. I went a little hard on this topic, but I sincerely mean it. Too many people expect others to just kind of like give you the answer. You're not being resourceful. Recruitment is all about agility and resourcefulness. You have to be able to think on a drop of the dime. Like you don't have a minute to go back to your boss and ask, what do I say now? You don't got a minute. You don't have a minute to even ask. You may not even have a minute to Google. You got to bullshit your way through. That's just how it's going to be for the first 0 to 6 months of your job. Maybe even through a year, maybe through 2 years. Until you figure this shit out, you're going to be grasping at straws. And that's the reality of it. To become an experienced headhunter, it takes time, it takes effort. Number 4, act with gusto. Sell your heart out. This starts off with even what you do and how you behave in your training. You may or may not have heard this story yet, but when I was starting my career, in my starting class, there were a couple people. There was this one girl that stood out to me because she was everything that I knew I was not going to be. She was extremely lackluster. She did not even sell her heart out, even during training. Even during training, she did not have the wherewithal to act like she gave a shit and sell her heart out. She could not even do that. During training, it was like, hey, do this introductory statement. And I did this introductory statement. Obviously, I don't really believe in it, but I still did it because the trainers make you do it. Oh, hello, I'm calling from Joe Schmo Agency. I recruit for regulatory writing. I'm a specialist in this field, blah, 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 blah. You act like you give a shit. You do the whole training, right? Even during the training, she was like, hello, I'm recruiting for X. I am the best recruiter in this space. Blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, yo, I feel bad for this lady. I legit feel bad for her because she does not even have a lust for living, a lust for life. Because when I saw that lack of gusto, I was like, how could you possibly sell? How would anybody in their right mind buy from you? What kind of shitty business are you curating there? If you are selling, hello, I'm calling from this agency. I do this kind of recruiting. Blah, 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 blah. How the hell could you even sell anything? It's not possible. It's physically not possible. Because what kind of dumbass consumer would buy from you? If you're trying to go after the top 20% of passive candidates, they're not buying. They're not going to buy that because they're like, what the hell is this? I love my job. I put work and heart into my work. But you're not like that. How could I give my candidacy to someone who is living on a different planet? I cannot give that to you. I cannot give you my representation, right? Right? So if you are a headhunter, you got to sell your heart out. You got to be like, I want to represent you. Come on, let's go. I want to get your resume. Come on. Act like you want it. Act like you want to represent me. Not that you're scared the minute I say I'm not actively seeking a job. I'm not actively seeking a job. Okay, I'm sorry. Goodbye. What kind of shit is this? What kind of bullshit is this? You expect to be making millions of dollars doing that? Not possible. You know, and I just really want every single junior recruiter to hear that. It's not possible. You get what you give. If that's what you give, you ain't gonna get none. You're not gonna get a single thing because people don't react to that. If a candidate tells me I'm not actively looking, I go, excellent. I'm so glad to hear that because I hate working with active job seekers. I'm glad that you're not actively looking. I build my whole practice on people who are passive. That's where I make my money. And the candidate's going to be scratching their heads like, all the other recruiters didn't tell me that. How come you're talking like that? Who are you? You build up their interest because now they're like, who the hell is this person? They got cojones. What's up with this person? Why are they talking to me like that? I'm intrigued. Tell me more. Why don't you work with active candidates? Because 90% of recruiters that I talk to, they'll just hang up on with me at this juncture. What makes you different? What makes you different? Boom, you got a chance to sell now because I am your confidential representative. I am a true headhunter. I don't do the active job rec, tomato slinging shit. I'm a serious professional. There's a difference here. Number 5, this leads to fake it till you make it. Why do I sell like that? I've been selling like that since day one of my career, obviously without the cuss words, but I've been selling like that from day one because I don't have time to waste my own time. If I'm going to make myself successful in recruitment, I'm going to act with gusto and I'm going to fake it. I'm going to fake that I know what I'm doing. I'm going to fake that I did 30 deals last year. I'm going to fake that I've done it, not from a lying perspective, because that's not what I did. I never once lied to a candidate and said, oh, I placed 50 candidates when I didn't. I never lie. I don't believe in lying, but I believe in acting as if. There's a difference. There's a difference. Acting as if means I'm confident. I know I'm going to take you where you need to go. I'm your Messiah. I know where I'm taking you. You listen to me and we're not going to fuck this up. We're going to do this right. That's the confidence that I have. It's not like, oh, I've been doing recruiting for 10 years. That doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean that you're better than me. Doesn't mean that you're better at recruiting, ironically enough. Funny enough, I was beating people who've been doing it longer, right? It's not about time. It's not about how many deals. It's about the energy. It's about the persona. It's about what do you bring to the table as a producer? What do you bring to the table? Well, I'm confident. What are you confident on? I'm confident that I'm going to negotiate correctly for you. And that critical moment, some other person who's been doing it for 10 years is going to fuck up when I'm not. I'm not going to fuck up because I'm brave, because I've got guts. I know what to say to people. I know how to represent you correctly. I know how to talk to hiring managers. I know how to talk to HR people. I know how to manage these people. I'm extremely good with people, and I know how to leverage market data and intel to my benefit. I'm not going to get you 1 rec. I'm going to get you 3 recs. That's what we're going to push up your offer. It's not just because I sound good on the phone. It's because I'm going to actually do the work. I'm actually going to get you 10 other companies to fight over your candidacy. I can say that. And because I can say that, I can do that. And because I can do that, I will do that. And when I do that, you give me your exclusivity. That's how it works. Fake it till you make it is an energy. It's not lying about how many deals you did when you didn't. That's a lie. I don't believe in lying. Again, you got to have the energy of a top producer, but not lie about it. All right. And again, it's a confidence thing. And unfortunately, I'm so sorry to say this. If you cannot get your confidence up, you will not make it. You will not make it, not only in this job, in many other jobs. Back to that example, the lady I told you about in the previous example who could not get the gusto and lust for life. In the future, when I was 26, 27, my dad tried to get me to get an MBA degree. He was like, you need it. You need those 3 letters behind your name. I said, okay, I'm going to check it out. I joined this program for females to go and check out how to get women into MBA programs. I signed up to this thing, paid $500, went to the networking event. Guess who I see there? I shit you not. It's like a TV moment, all full circle. At this point, I'm doing executive search. I'm dealing with VCs. I'm dealing with C-level people. I'm doing 100K deals. I'm doing 90 to 100K deals. And I built this market by myself because I just kept doing what I was doing, right? Believing in myself, investing in myself, investing in my skills, right? So I go to this networking event and everybody has to stand up and talk about themselves. And lo and behold, it's that lady. She stands up. She's like, I did this. I did that. She's still lost. I did this. I did that. Now I want an MBA because I think it'll help me get ahead. And I don't even remember what she said, but it was again lackluster. It was again just lost and confused. And she never amounted to anything. And I'm going after, and I don't mean to, again, go after this person specifically, but it's just a TV moment because I did the opposite. And in my head, I'm like, holy cow, I shouldn't even be here. I'm in the same room with her. I shouldn't even be here. This is the wrong room to be in. Because if I'm in the same room as these lost souls, I don't need an MBA. I don't need it. If this is what an MBA is all about, I don't need it because I know what I'm up to. I know that I'm a top biller and I'm an executive recruiter. I know that I don't need to be here. One of the biggest reasons why I didn't pursue an MBA is because I was surrounded by people who are lost, who are confused, or who are just straight up workers. They're working at some consulting firm, making 140, 150. I'm making more than they are. I don't need that. I don't need this degree. I really don't. What am I really going to get out of it? I have to pay $130,000 for a global executive MBA from some Ivy name. And what you going to get? Nothing. Nothing really. Nothing that I can't get talking to more venture capitalists. I think I can get more talking to these VC people than I can get in this MBA program. I don't want a network of lost souls. I want a network of powerful bosses. Again, going back to recruiting is a privilege. What other job would you have that would give you access to these actual business leaders? You know, these actual people running businesses that you get to talk to them and help them fill their most ardent need, which is talent. It's a privilege, right? So fake it till you make it is all about the energy that I have. And if you can never get that self-confidence, you will always be lost. Always lost and confused because you never fully put your heart into anything. You never fully put your energy into something or put your self-confidence somewhere to challenge yourself and to make something of yourself. And the last 2 points, I want to say, make it fun. Number 6, make it fun. How can you love your job if you don't have fun? Right? And I'm not saying you got to love your job in a toxic way where it's like, I love my job. I'm going to be working all day long. I don't even take vacations. I'm not saying that. I take a shit ton of vacation. I freaking coast. I watch a shit ton of television. I travel the world. I go and take long ass vacations every single year. When I worked at the agency, I was in China for 3 weeks every single year. You know, end of December to January, I'd be in China visiting my mother. Right? I would not be hanging. I'm like working hard so I can make a living for myself and like relax. Right? I have PTO. I take my PTO every single year. So I'm not saying that you got to work every single minute and lie to yourself and say, this is fun. But you got to make recruiting fun somehow. It's got to be something that you look forward to doing, right? Right? Like every single day, clearly, again, going back to that example, my colleague, every day she went to work. You think she had fun? You think she had a good time? Absolutely not. It was miserable. It was misery. Every single minute of the day, she was like, what am I doing? Why am I here? It's because you didn't put your heart into it. If you don't put your heart into it, obviously you're not going to find it fun because you're not going to get any good result. It's like the cycle, right? If you don't put your heart into something, you won't get a good result. And because you don't get a good result, you won't get paid much. And then that's going to drive resentment. And then it's going to decrease your motivation to work because you're on this negative cycle of like, why am I going to keep working hard? Why am I going to work hard if I'm not going to get anything? Why I hate this job. It's going to just end up at I hate this job. That's where it's going to come down to. All right? Because every single recruiting class, every single class of new recruits, you're going to find people that are just like going to be in that camp. They're like a good majority. It's probably at least half. At least half the people very quickly, you're going to see, they're like, what's the point of this job? I don't see the point of this job. I'm not having fun. Yeah, because you're not making it fun because you're a coward. You're a coward. So you're not asking the right questions. You're not working on yourself either. You're lazy. You're not working on yourself. And because you don't do those things, you're not going to have fun because your candidates are not going to tell you the truth. And when they don't tell you the truth, you can't get the truth out of them. You can't get the truth out of them. You're going to mess up. They're going to have deals fall through. And then, yeah, you're going to waste a shit ton of time. That's what's going to happen. I already know it. You're going to waste a shit ton of time because you didn't put in the right effort. So recruiting is this whole food chain. If you mess up on one of those steps, your result is going to be fucked up. And if your result's going to be fucked up, your career is going to be fucked up. They're one and the same. So you got to give a shit. It starts off with giving a shit. How do you give a shit? Got to make it fun. Got to invest in the career, right? Gamify it. I keep telling people, gamify the game, right? Gamify the career. So every time I'm on a call with a candidate, I think to myself, I wonder if, number one, I can get the candidate to like me. That's the first step. I'm going to make the candidate like me. That's going to be my first step. Number two, I'm going to find out what the name of their dog is. If they don't have a dog, I'm going to find out the name of their children. And that's going to be another little game, right? I'm going to set these little fun games. Number three, I'm going to know exactly where they live and what their hobbies are. That's another game. Every single call, I had a game. It was a game that I played with myself. Again, back to you need to figure it out on your own. Number three, Nobody told me how to gamify my game. I had to make my own game. I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to make this game fun. I'm going to make recruiting fun. I'm going to say, I'm going to make this candidate give me their resume. That's the game. If I can get their resume, I've won. I've won the game. Just like all these little things. What can I say now? What can I do now to get my objective, to get my goal, right? What kind of open question do I need to ask? How do I clarify what I want from the candidate so that they'll give me what I want? So all of these things tied together make it fun. Gamify this game. The last rule is number 7, work hard. And I codify this as my 777 rule. You may have heard this. Sorry, 4 sevens. 7, 7, 7, 7, triple 7. Sorry, 4 quadruple 7 rule. I got to find a better way to phrase this. But it's the 7777 rule, which means work from 7 to 7, any 12-hour interval, 7 days a week for 7 weeks out of the year. If you do that, I swear to God, you're going to be a global top biller. There's no way you can't, right? And again, I'm not asking you every single day for the rest of your life to work. I'm just saying 7 weeks out of the year, you just work weekends. You really devote yourself to your job. You really spend that time to craft and to learn and to study. Anything counts. It could be reading sales books. It could be making phone calls. It could be working on your digital media. It could be working on an article. Spend a full week immersed in your job from 7 to 7. Really invest in your time into your job for just 7 weeks out of the year. And this just is all you need to do every time you start a new market. And once you start a new market, you got to do 7777 again, because you got to rebuild. You got to use your time wisely. You got to do it earlier than later, right? 7777, ideally you do it for the first 7 weeks of your job. You really fully immerse yourself in a headhunter mentality, where every single thing you do in the weekend, you're actually dedicating yourself to becoming a better salesperson, a better headhunter. Again, that could be going to practice your, spiel. That could be going to writing something. That could be reading something. Whatever it is, don't just be first week on the job of recruiting, your first week as a junior, Monday through Friday, you leave on the dot. You don't do anything after hours. And, I understand there's labor laws against overtime. I could give a shit. I'm not going to sue my employer. I would work till from literally 8 to 9, 8 to 10 sometimes. I get home at 10 with a big smile on my face. I'm not doing this for somebody else. I'm doing this for me. If I become really, really good at this, I'm going to make it. And I'm going to succeed. Even if I'm at the wrong recruiting firm, I'm going to be able to find the right recruiting firm because I have the right qualities. I have the right skill set. But I'm never going to learn the skill set if I don't fully immerse myself. And if I'm just working the bare minimum, as in the office hours, I'm just going to be average. And I don't want to be average. Right? The whole point of becoming a recruiter is to become above average. And I believe that every single person tuning into this podcast, you are above average. Otherwise, you wouldn't listen to me ramble for hours and hours on end, right? You're trying to better yourself. And this counts as part of your 7777 rule, right? Again, on weekends, I can't stress this enough to you. On weekends, I would go into the office. This is before the time of remote work. We would not be able to remotely work. I would go into the office happily, big smile on my face, because I want to. I want to come in, and on the off days, after work, when I'm done coming in on the weekends, I go skating at Rockefeller Center. Because I earned, not Rockefeller Center, sorry, Bryant Park, because Bryant Park's free, right? I literally would bring my skates, I'd go to the office, I'd work. What would I do? I would call candidates on weekends. That's what I would do. Because I'm like, let's try it out. Ain't nobody told me that this works or not. Nobody's trying it. Let me try it out. Let me call these candidates on the weekend. So I call the candidates. I go A to Z. I go through I'd go through the career builder. Literally go through all the candidates with the keywords that I'm looking for. And I would get my 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours means 10,000 hours spent on doing the job. So I would get my 10,000 hours to become a master at my craft. Right? So I'm calling weekends, leaving voicemails, calling. I'm just testing it out. I don't know the answer. You don't know the answer. You don't know until you try. Right? So I'm going to call. I'm going to call these candidates, see what happens. Some candidates, and I found out, weekend calling wasn't that big of a move a needle. Didn't really move that many needles. But eventually, I started booking meetings on weekends. I started saying to myself, hey, will my candidates want to meet me on a weekend? Let me start asking. So I started asking candidates, you want to get coffee? You want to get brunch? You want to get lunch? You want to get afternoon coffee? I book myself with weekend meetings. I drive down to Jersey and I go see all my candidates and hang out with them. At the end of the day, how do I make it fun? I go to Walmart. I treat myself to a little Walmart trip. That's when I had my little Prius, and I would grab my, I bought a bicycle once at Walmart in Jersey. I guess I make it fun. On the way back, I'm going to stop by a Target. On the way back, I'm going to stop by a Best Buy. Treat myself, right? Make it fun. It's not just all work, no play, right? I'm going to go and meet some candidates, and I'm going to go and hang out at Walmart. And also, my boss pays for the meals. They pay for my gas mileage. Recruiting is a privilege. What other job would give you reimbursement for all of this? Only recruiting. Recruiting would reimburse you. The sad thing is recruiters and recruiting companies are happy to reimburse you for all this extra work, but nobody takes them up on it. Nobody is out there going out to meet candidates on weekends. Just little old me. I'm going out there meeting candidates, whining and dining on the company's dollar. And I love it because it's free money. Why am I not going to mooch off my employer? And I'm out there hustling. I deserve it. And my company would pay me for it. So there you go. These are all the things I want to say to you, junior recruiters. And I may have come down on you hard, but I just want to iterate to you that this is not a walk in the park. This is a serious business. Will it make you a millionaire? Absolutely. Absolutely it will. It has made me a millionaire. It has made many people a millionaire. This is nothing unique. It's nothing novel. It's nothing innovative. It's just recruiting 101. But the reality is it's a hard job. It's a hard job to do because you have to figure it out on your own, and you have to be brave. You have to be so brave. You have to be so brave because no one has shown you the way. You have to make your own way. In this business, you have to make your own way. And that's the scariest thing. So I wish you the best of luck. I hope this podcast reinvigorates you, invigorates you, and come back to it. If you ever feel like you need a boost, a kick in the ass, you're running on, fumes, come on over, listen to this podcast, tune in, and let me know what else I can speak to that can give you that extra oomph in the butt so that you can keep going to nail your future opportunity. Don't ever forget, you have such a narrow window of opportunity. Make the most of it. Don't be like my colleague. She did not make the most of it. And I don't know where she is today, but I don't think she's very happy. I don't think she's very successful. And I don't think she ever made anything of herself. And it just breaks my heart when I see so many people do that to themselves. If only they could change their attitude. If only they could change how they approach the world, they would get so much more out of it. And that's what I want for all of the people tuning into the DG Recruit podcast. I don't want you to end up like her. I want you to end up like me, happy, rich, successful. You have your own destiny, right? It's really amazing. Just like me and all of those of my ilk. Listen to all the recruiter prep interviews on this podcast. They are living amazing lives. Some of them are making $500,000 or more. It's incredibly privileged to have this opportunity. Don't forsake it.
I hope DG Recruit is helping you understand the realities, challenges, and opportunities when it comes to headhunting and recruitment. Whether you're already a top biller or an aspiring headhunter, I'd love to get to know you. Sign up at donnaglobal.com to stay in touch on all aspects of career coaching and headhunting. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in to DG Recruit. This has been a production of Donna Global.